Sony Open champion Cameron Smith, a golf swing that I think we can relate to and that we can learn from, right? It's a swing that you look at it and it kind of seems relatively simple, right? It's not a bomber off the tee where, you know, we're watching a DJ or a Finau or Rory, like, I can't do that. I can't hit it out for 330 yards off the tee. You know, Cameron Smith hits it about 295 off the tee and has a golf swing that's like, okay, that's relatable to some degree, especially with how he uses the club face angle. I think we can learn from Cameron in the preparation of the club face in the backswing. When you look at his swing and you watch it halfway back to here like this, you're going to see the toe of the club, the angle of the face running, you know, pretty parallel to the spine, right? He's not a player that's rotating the face back open where you'll see the toe up to the sky. Still play good golf from here, as some do. But I think, generally speaking, for most of you out there, the game can be a little bit easier if we get the club face more square, say, to here. In addition to that, you'll see Cameron manage the relationship between the shaft and the lead arm. The club shaft and the lead arm stay pretty much in line. He's not throwing that out of line early when the club shaft gets parallel to the ground. He's got it in line. He's not certainly out here either. So that lead arm and shaft in line as he turns halfway back, toe slightly down. A lot of good stuff there. Just by doing that with a lot of players, a lot of students, amateur students, man, things start to get better from them. They start to clean up and kind of promote better activity in the backswing, and more importantly, better downswing to impact components as well. Now, let's take it a step further here as we go to the top. You're going to notice with Cameron that he gets the angle of the face looking a little towards the sky. He's probably just slightly closed at the top. So from here, as he goes to the top, you'll see his right elbow pinch. His right elbow pinches his left one. Keeps that elbow out in front of him. Call that external rotation. This way, internal would be like this when the elbow kicks out. Cameron could probably hit it further if he wanted to, if he let his elbow kind of drift a little bit and then regain that external coming down. But you know, I think he's a player that's probably going perhaps a bit more for accuracy. And I think with that elbow pinching, it allows him to kind of curl that left wrist a bit and flatten it out. And you can see when I do that, that club face kind of turns a little bit towards the sky. Good checkpoint, angle of the face at the top, relatively parallel to this, you know, to this lead wrist. Little towards the sky would be slightly close. And that could be a good thing for so many of you at home, because you think about, if I get the face square here, and I get the face square to just slightly closed here, well, what is that going to promote in the way of development on the downswing to impact? The first thing is that it's going to promote this club shaft to want to maybe shallow out some, where the sweet spot wants to fall back behind the hands in transition. Especially if you're going to add some elbow pinch here and some of this left wrist kind of flat, not bowing, he's not a DJ, but it's flat here at the top. That club face turned towards the sky just a little bit, slightly closed. You get that elbow pinching, that left wrist curling, and then you start down, you're gonna sense that wanting to maybe fall behind you a little bit more. And if you're used to having this wanting getting out here, right, where this wants to get on top early in transition, steep, and then across to the left, well, you're probably going to hit some poles if you're managing that club face alignment like Cameron does. So what it's going to really teach you how to do is it's going to teach you how to maybe shallow a little bit from the inside, and then from there, as the path is delivered from the inside, you start to learn how to maybe start the ball a bit more to the right and draw it. And that's a ball flight that can be very new for so many that have been steep and kind of out to in through impact for so long. So it can really help this shallowing out by getting that club face better prepared to the top of the swing. The other piece that it can really promote is the idea of leaning the shaft forward at impact, just like Cameron Smith does. For those of you that get that face kind of open, getting that toe kind of hanging down a little bit, especially if you counter that with a cupped left wrist. Boy, this is tough. This is tough to develop on the downswing. It's tough to teach that player to shallow it out. It's really tough to lean the shaft forward at impact and get the face square. Usually what you're going to see is you're going to see some early release. You're going to see the handle kind of leaning back this way as a squaring mechanism. The problem is you add loft to the face. So you take an 8 and you turn it to a 9. So getting the face square here and here, boy, can help this and can really start teaching a student how to lean the shaft forward, which starts to really promote rotation in the body and opening up through the strut. Okay, so this is all stemming from the club face. These are all things that I've seen for many, many years on the lesson tee, and I think Cameron Smith is a good example from here to here, and then what this can promote. Shallowing, some shaft lean at impact, now some rotation, and you can really see it with Cameron as he rotates. It really kind of helps stabilize the face and really, maybe minimize the amount of face rotation that's happening through impact. With good players, you'll see so often the face as it exits, you'll see that club face kind of looking back towards the camera side. Or if I was kind of going this way, and if I was to look, I'm kind of looking down the top line of that club face, right? You don't see them excessively flipping the face over like that, where you're looking at the back of the club head. Okay, you're seeing a little bit of layback in the face. And again, a lot of that is being promoted through the club face alignment here, through the club face alignment here. So developing the golf swing, developing players, it's a real thing. It's what I do. In 20 years on the lesson tee, I can't tell you how many times I have cleaned up here and made them look just like Cameron Smith, here, made them look just like Cameron Smith, and then how from there the trickle down starts to take place. A lot easier to go here in transition. A lot easier to go here to impact. A lot easier to really open up and get some of that look into post-impact into the finished position. So Cameron Smith's second win on the PGA Tour, a golf swing that I think we can learn from. Hope that helps.